Okay, here's another sprint car that we didn't do a lot of modification or restoring on this thing. It was an excellent car when I got it. A friend of mine named Neil Reingalt, him and his dad built two of them and raced them. And I always told Neil when he got finished racing or wanted to get rid of the car, I would buy it. So he called me one day and said, "You want to come and buy the car?" I says, "I'll be down there tomorrow." I went down to Miami, picked the car up, brought it back, and I told Neil when I brought it back, I said, "Neil, what I'm going to do with the car is where more people can see it, because I think it's worth seeing. I'm going to put headlights, tail lights, and a transmission in it." And he said, "That's okay, it's your car." So what we did when we got it back, back here, we put headlights on it, I put street tires on it, and tail lights. And then what we did was we stretched the car out, because a sprint car has a 93-inch wheelbase. So we stretched it out to 100 inches, which would really qualify for it to be a champ car, because they're a 100-inch wheelbase. We added 9 inches right in here, and that allowed us to put an automatic transmission in it. I got a turbo 350 hooked to this GMC 302, which is quite a unique engine. They only built them a few years. It's the biggest motor that GM built. And the car runs excellent. Right before I got it, Neil had gone through the motor and he bored it out, had it bored out 125 thousandths. So I don't know how many cubic inches it is now, but it handles the carburetors with no problem at all. And we raced this one at Amelia Island in April, my wife and I, and this car, excellent car. So what we also did when we turned this thing into a street car and put an automatic transmission in it, Neil always used a handbrake to stop it. It had no foot brake, it had a handbrake. So we moved the foot brake inside, or the brake inside. Then we took the handbrake and made it into a shifter. So that's reverse, neutral, drive, and so forth. And I made it very neat the way it works. The car is old. It's got a 2-inch square tube frame in it. It's not a round tube. It's not a tube of 3. This thing, you would think that it would be weak, but it's not. It's been raced since the 50s with no problems at all. Originally, Neil had a flathead in it, Ford V8, but he put the 302 when they started outrunning everything. Excellent engine. The next car, this car I raced at Indianapolis the second year. And I don't know if I said about the other car. The first year, Janice outran me. The second year, I outran her with this car. She don't talk too much about that anymore. This is a car that we built for Janice to run at Amelia Island. We started from scratch. I went into some books and looked at old Indy racers, and this resembles an Indy racer. And we put a Ford straight axle under the front end. And then something that's really unique is this is called a quarter elliptical spring. And if you come around here to the side, you can see it better. You take a spring and you cut it in half and you bolt it here, bolt it together, and it only has a half of a full spring in it. It's called a quarter elliptical. And what an elliptical is, a half elliptical is a regular spring. A full elliptical is 2 springs together like that. So we put quarter ellipticals in the front, quarter ellipticals in the back. And I put a Chevy 6-cylinder in it. And it's a 190 that does 90 horsepower. It's got a single 1 barrel on it. I bought this at a swap meet, I gave the guy $300 for it. He had just pulled it out of a Chevrolet, early model Chevrolet, and motor runs perfect. Same swap meet, I bought the radiator, which is a Walker, put in it. This came off of my Model A, and we cut it down and put this in. Then the side panels, they came off of my Model A. I had bought a new hood and side panels for the Model A. Well, we put them on here. Then we built the body from here back to here and formed it and all that right here. And then the tail of it is a aluminum tail from the Ford 30s, 40s. It's a big car. They called them big cars back then. So we put that in, and we took the 6-cylinder and put a Power Glide automatic transmission in it. And that way it's easy to drive. We did the same thing. The handbrake is now the shifter. It's got the foot brake inside. And my wife and I are getting older, so originally it was going to be just a single roll bar in it. And I got to thinking about it, so I had a friend of mine build this roll bar for Janice in the event that something happened. And that's the reason for the roll bar, roll cage. She's getting a little bit older, me too, and don't want anything to happen to her. Her and I, when I built this car, this is our 50th year of marriage, November 18th. So I put the number 50 and then TH 50th with the gold color on it, and that's what the car is all about. But she raced it at Amelia Island, did really good, and we have a lot of fun with the cars. So that's it on this. Oh, one other thing, when I bought this wing, I thought that it was going to be much smaller, and I got it, and I saw how big it was. I put it on, and I thought Janice was going to say, nah. She looked at it, she said she loved it because of the gaudiness. And the reason for her name and the stars, that's my granddaughters, 5 of them. So that's what that's all about. So that's basically this car.